When Samsung unveiled the Galaxy S20 Ultra in early 2020, it set a new standard for smartphones and the first smartphone to adopt the Ultra moniker. Now fast forward to 2024 and the smartphone market has evolved tremendously and seen numerous advancements. So how does the S20 Ultra hold up 4 years later? In this review, I'll evaluate its performance, features and value context in 2024 to help you decide if it's worth buying. And for more on the latest budget offerings and old flagship devices, you know what to do. The Galaxy S20 Ultra's design remains striking even by today's standards. Its large 6.9-inch Dynamic AMOLED 2X display with 120Hz refresh rate still competes well with current mid-range and even high-end models. And for some context, here is the S20 Ultra side by side with the new Nothing Phone 2A and the CMF Phone 1, both with OLED displays, and it holds up really well. The phone's build quality is robust, with a glass front and back protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 6 and an aluminium frame. However, it does feel bulky compared to more recent models that have managed to slim down while still maintaining larger screens. And in terms of durability, the S20 Ultra has held up pretty well. Its IP68 rating for dust and water resistance is still relevant, offering peace of mind for the accidental spills and splashes. While newer models might feature lighter materials and more refined aesthetics, the S20 Ultra's design does not disappoint or feel outdated at all, and I still do really like the overall feel of the phone. And the display of the S20 Ultra was one of its main features at launch, and it's still really impressive today. The 3200 by 1440 resolution provides sharp and vibrant visuals, making it excellent for media consumption, gaming and general use. The 120Hz refresh rate, which was cutting edge in 2020, is now commonplace in mid to high-end phones, but it still ensures smooth scrolling and a responsive touch experience. And of course, the downside with 120Hz on this display was that you couldn't use that 120Hz alongside the QHD resolution. You had to dial back down to 1080p to use that 120Hz, likely a move to save power. And another potential downside is, of course, other phones have pushed the boundaries even further using 144Hz and 165Hz displays and under-display selfie cameras for a more seamless look. But the S20 Ultra's display is still really great in 2024, and if released in 2024, I don't think there'd be many people that would be disappointed with it. Its maximum brightness of 1400 nits is still good too, but of course newer flagships go up to bonkers levels now, but I haven't found this to be an issue. And powered by the Exynos 990 or Snapdragon 865 depending on location, the S20 Ultra was a powerhouse of course when it was released, but even today it still provides adequate performance for most things that you need to do. The 12 or 16 gigs of RAM options ensure that multitasking remains smooth and the device can handle current apps and games well, although not as effortlessly or efficiently as the latest flagship models equipped with the latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 or the Exynos 2400 chips. However, the gap becomes more apparent with more demanding applications and future-proofing, and AI and machine learning tasks, which are becoming increasingly common, of course run better on newer processors. For casual users, the S20 Ultra still provides ample performance, but power users of course might notice its limitations. And at launch, the camera setup on the S20 Ultra was revolutionary, featuring a 108 megapixel primary sensor, a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto lens with 10 times hybrid zoom, a 12 megapixel ultra-wide sensor and a depth vision sensor. It also boasted 100x space zoom, which, while more of a marketing gimmick, showcased Samsung's ambitions. And in 2024, the camera still performs very well. The 108 megapixel sensor, which does 9-in-1 pixel binning, captures high levels of detail, and the various lenses provide flexibility for different shooting scenarios. And of course, advancements in computational photography means that newer devices, even mid-range phones, can sometimes produce better results than the S20 Ultra, particularly in low light and HDR scenarios. The 100x zoom, while still impressive, unsurprisingly has been improved by newer models offering better stabilization and image processing. The front camera with its 40 megapixel sensor remains competent, but is overshadowed by modern devices with enhanced AI-driven selfie modes and under-display camera technology, although the latter doesn't always produce better results. But some of these cameras with low resolution sensors do produce better results, which just shows the manufacturer's advancements in photography. But here are a few photo and video samples coming from the S20 Ultra. Do let me know down in the comments what you think. And as for the battery, of course, the 5000 mAh battery in the S20 Ultra was another standout feature on release, and it does still provide me with all-day usage without much of a problem. Of course, 4 years on, battery degradation is going to be a natural occurrence, so if you are looking for a second-hand S20 Ultra, consider a battery replacement if the battery health isn't quite up to scratch to get you back to more optimal performance. And like I said, battery life for me has been okay. The advancements in battery and processor efficiency mean that even at its peak, the S20 Ultra is overshadowed by newer models. The phone got me through a day, but any heavy use you'll likely see a substantial drop in endurance. And charging remains the same as the newer models at 45 watt wired, 15 watt wireless charging, and 4.5 watt reverse wireless charging. And these are still all useful features and still keep up, at least with the other Samsung models. And as for software, the S20 Ultra originally shipped with Android 10 with One UI version 2.1 on top, and it's currently running Android 13 with One UI version 5.1. But of course, it's not going to get any more major software updates. Android 13 is the latest version, but Samsung's commitment to supporting its devices for longer mean that you're still going to get quarterly security updates on the S20 Ultra for just a little bit longer. It's currently running on a May 2024 security patch, so it's pretty good. And the user experience remains fluid with One UI, but of course certain features in the latest One UI 6 and Android 14 won't be available. Newer models also benefit from more advanced hardware-software integration, particularly in areas like AI, security, and ecosystem connectivity. But the aesthetics of One UI are what you'd expect: bright, punchy icons, a simple settings menu to navigate, and plenty of customization options to choose from. And overall, One UI is definitely one of the top software packages for sure. So if you're considering an S20 Ultra, let's talk price and availability. Now, of course, the phone has depreciated considerably since its launch, and if you trawl around on eBay, you can pick up one, depending on condition, for around 200 to 300 quid. I paid around 200 quid for mine in pretty good condition. And for those of you looking for a premium phone experience without the premium price tag, the S20 Ultra is definitely up there. But of course, you should be cautious of the potential for a battery replacement and the lack of features found in newer models. But of course, for the same price, you can pick up a new budget phone with better software support and more recent hardware innovations. So the S20 Ultra comes through as a little bit of a mixed bag, at least for me. Of course, you get the premium flagship experience with a really stunning display, a really competent camera system, decent battery life, and excellent build quality. But of course, the technological advancements over the past 4 years cannot be ignored. Newer models, of course, offer better efficiency, better performance, better battery life, and of course, that prolonged software experience. But if that's not a priority for you, again, S20 Ultra, you might want to weigh it up. But I think personally, in my use, the S20 Ultra has held up really, really well. I wasn't really surprised about the degradation in the battery life. That's to be expected of a phone this sort of age. But everything else was absolutely great. I really enjoyed using the S20 Ultra, but be sure to let me know down in the comments what you think of the S20 Ultra. Check out my S21 and S22 Ultra videos down below, and I'll see you there.